The morning rush had just begun at Willow Creek Café, that cozy little spot where people came not just for waffles but for warmth. That's where Sophie Miller, a 27-year-old waitress with weary eyes and an endless heart, spent every dawn juggling plates, pouring coffee, and pretending everything was fine, even when life wasn't. But that morning, something happened that would change everything, not just for her, but for someone else too. A man in a crisp navy suit burst through the door, clutching a young boy, maybe 7 or 8, pale, limp, barely breathing. His voice cracked as he shouted, "Please, someone call 911. My son, he's not responding." The diner fell silent. Everyone froze. Everyone except Sophie. She dropped her tray, plates shattering across the floor, and ran forward before her mind even caught up. The boy's head hung loosely against his father's arm. The man's face was familiar. She'd seen it somewhere before. Then it hit her. Daniel Cross, the billionaire real estate magnate she'd seen on TV, but right now he wasn't a tycoon. He was a desperate father watching his son fade away. Minutes later, paramedics and a doctor from the clinic across the street rushed in. They checked the boy's vitals, shined a light in his eyes, exchanged hurried medical terms Sophie didn't understand. "Looks like a seizure," one doctor said. They prepared to move him, but Sophie's instincts screamed something else. She'd spent years caring for her diabetic younger brother. She knew that pale skin, that clammy sweat, that trembling hand. This wasn't just a seizure. Her voice shook as she said, "Wait, please check his blood sugar." The doctor frowned. "Ma'am, please step back. We've got this," but Sophie stood her ground. "Just check. He's cold, he's sweating. I've seen this before. It could be hypoglycemia." The billionaire's eyes darted between her and the doctor. "Do it," he ordered. The doctor sighed and pulled out a glucose meter. Seconds later, the reading flashed. "Extremely low," he muttered. Sophie didn't wait. She grabbed a bottle of orange juice from the counter, poured it into a cup, and helped the boy sip. Within moments, his color returned. His little chest rose deeper, his lips regained color, and his tiny fingers clutched his father's sleeve. "Dad," the boy whispered weakly. Daniel Cross broke down, tears streaming as he held his son tight. "Thank you," he choked out, looking around for Sophie, but she was already back at work, trying to steady her hands while refilling a coffee cup as if nothing had happened. 3 days later, a sleek black car pulled up outside Willow Creek Café. Sophie looked up, startled, as Daniel Cross stepped inside, carrying a small velvet box. "You saved my son's life," he said simply. "The doctor said if you hadn't spoken up, we might have lost him." "I owe you more than I can ever repay," Sophie smiled softly. "I'm just glad he's okay. That's all that matters." But Daniel opened the box anyway. Inside was a check, $250,000. Her hands trembled. "I can't." "You can," he interrupted. "You saw what others didn't. You cared when everyone froze. People like you keep this world from falling apart." She hesitated, then accepted it, not as a reward, but as a reminder that compassion still counts. Months later, that check became her nursing school fund. Sophie finally chased the dream she'd buried under rent and exhaustion. Years down the line, during her first day at St. Vincent's Hospital, Sophie's first patient was a cheerful boy with bright eyes. "Hi, Miss Sophie," he said, handing her a small envelope. Inside was a hand-drawn card. "You didn't just save my life," it read. "You showed my dad what kindness looks like." And as Sophie smiled through tears, she realized sometimes heroes don't wear badges or uniforms. Sometimes they just wear aprons and carry coffee cups, because in the end, it's not about status or wealth. It's about heart, and that's something no title or fortune can ever buy.